As a kid, we would get the silk. This is called the silk, this part here. Can you see that part in there? See that? That's called the silk. And hello, my Karma babies. How are you today? Well, I'm doing great. I've been busy today. Today has been a day of canning. I just finished canning some beautiful green tomatoes. I was waiting all summer for this. I was able to get a few out of my garden, and I picked a few up at the local Piggly Wiggly. Guys, guess what we're going to be canning now? We are going to be canning some delicious whole kernel corn. Yes, nothing better than fried corn. I mean, it's just the best. I don't know if you've ever had it, but we're going to be having some down the line because I'm going to fry some up for you, and you are invited over for dinner. Well, let's get started because we're going to have a whole lot of shucking going on up in here. I really wanted to show you one of the ears of corn and how you shuck it, because I realize maybe you may not be familiar with how it's done, but you just take off all the corn husk. This is the corn husk. And as I was shucking one of them, you know what? It made me remember when I was growing up. When I was growing up and we would have to sit and shuck corn for our grandmother. One of the things, and you might think this is really odd, but one of the things that we would do as a kid, we would get the silk. This is called the silk, this part here. Can you see that part in there? See that? That's called the silk. And as a child, you know, we didn't have a bunch of department stores to go to and money to buy a doll. So what we would do as a child, and I know it sounds odd, but I'm sure there's a lot of my Karma babies out there that are close to my age and they remember. We would take the silk, look at all of that, and we would put it together, and we would get us you know, all of our pops came in bottles then, glass bottles. And we would take the bottle, and we would take the silk, and we would tie a little string around it, and put it in the bottle. And then we had our doll's hair, and we could braid it and play with it and have fun with it. Can you see that? I know this is odd, right? But I just thought about it, you know, when I was shucking I thought, man, those were the days. Look at that. That's looks like hair, right? But it's the silk. And we would play with this for hours, just hours. Yes. So when you're shucking the corn, you want to get all of that silk off. So you just want to kind of run your hands down it, and you want to get the silk out of, you know, in between, because otherwise it'll be in your corn, and I don't like to have silk in my corn. But guys, I just thought about that story, and man, did it bring back the memories of just, you know, that was the fun part of helping them, because we would get to keep the silk and accumulate it. And if you accumulated a lot of it, boy, your doll had a whole lot of hair. But if you were lazy and you didn't do a good job or you didn't help, then your doll wouldn't have any hair for you to play with. Yes. So, you know, sometimes those days like that makes it all worthwhile. We had to all go through that to get to where we are now, right? For the world to be where it is now. Because, like I said, we couldn't go to the store and buy whatever. We would wait for the Sears and Roebuck big catalog to come out. And if we were lucky, which I don't remember us really being lucky. I remember ordering it from it when I got older. But as a child, I don't remember us ordering anything out of the Sears and Roebuck catalog. That was a painful day for me when they said that they weren't going to mail those catalogs out anymore. So you just go ahead and get that all off, and I'll come back, guys, when I get all this done, okay? Something else, guys, I'd like to let you know about. This, the husk, this is actually what's used to make tamales. The corn husk, they dry it out. Can you see how that looks just like a corn husk? They dry it out, and once it's dry, you can take it and roll your tamales in it. So that's another little fun fact I wanted to share with you. Well, we shucked our corn, and then the next step is we have to cut the corn off the cob. And it's pretty easy, just a little time consuming. Now, there's a couple of ways you can do it. I have this little contraction. I don't know what it was meant to be, some kind of vegetable cutter or something, but I never used it as a vegetable cutter. I know some people use a bundt cake pan. Mine is, the hole is too big. So I thought, well, I could probably use that. So let me just show you the concept. You just take, look how easy that is, and cut your corn. See? I know when you look at things, and if you've not done them before in the past, they look so intimidating, don't they? You know, like, how am I going to get that corn off of there? Well, use a perforated, knife, and just get the cutting. That's all. It's very easy. All the corn is off of there. Now, we got our ends, and just put it inside of your pan, and just hold it like this. Go down it and cut it off. That's all. Very easy. Just cut the ends off. And we're not going to throw that away. Oh no. We are not going to throw that away. We are going to make corn cob jelly with it. Now, I've never had it, but I hear it tastes like honey. And anything that tastes like honey is worth a try. So I'm going to give it a try. Now, if you don't want to cut it with a bundt cake or, pan, just take your corn and kind of hold it to the side and just cut down. Very easy. Just cut down, cut the pieces off, just like that. Just go down and cut it. And make sure you have a very deep and wide pan, like I said, because, juices and pieces of corn is going to be flying everywhere. I think you even need goggles. I have spots of it on my glasses. So be prepared for that. But that's all you have to do is cut it off. And it's very easy. It comes off easy. It looks like it would be difficult to cut it off, but it is not. Just cut it. Okay? Just come down cut it. Now I'm not milking it, what they call milking it. Inside of here, there's a white substance and they call it the milk of the corn. I'm not gonna milk it. I'm not gonna milk it because I don't want to turn it into like cream style corn. So, and the juices that are in here, we are going to use it for our corn cob jelly. So I figure why throw it away? And it might be a jelly that we really, really like. Okay, so I just got one more. I'm gonna finish that up and then I'll be right back, okay guys? Okay guys, so this is all the corn that I got off the cob. Now I had 15 ears of corn. So we're gonna see how many jars that's going to get us. These jars are very hot. I've had them in the oven, staying nice and warm. I have me some nice boiling water here. This recipe calls for a ½ teaspoon of caning salt. You can use kosher salt or caning salt. I'm going to show you the kind that I'm using. It's caning and pickling, and you can even see it's got on the front there some corn. So you use that in your processing, a ½ teaspoon, and we're going to put our corn in, leaving a 1 inch space. Now the recipe said do not shake, so you just pack it in loosely, loosey. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. Look like it's taking about 2 cups or so. I think I have 9 jars. We'll see how many it comes out to be. Okay. Now the next step is pouring. Take the ladle and, well, we're going to keep this here, and we're going to put the hot boiling water over the corn. And we want it to cover and give us a 1 inch headspace. So we just continue. This is the easy part here, guys. The hard part is the cutting, and that wasn't even that hard. Okay, we're going to go to the next one. Beautiful corn, beautiful yellow color. It looks really, really nice. Now, we are going to debubble. Okay, let's make sure we got enough water in there in each one. Okay, so we're going to take our debubbler. This is your debubbler, and we're going to kind of go around it and get as much air bubbles out as possible. You know, corn kind of ferments, right? And man, I can see a lot of bubbles that are just naturally in this corn. So, yeah, we got to make sure we try to get as much of it out as possible. Oh, this is going to be so delicious, guys. You know, I have a lot of corn, whole kernel and cream style in the can, but nothing beats fresh. Nothing beats fresh. And, you know, it's always so much work when you're making a meal. On top of making a meal, then you're cutting the corn off. Hey, if it's already done, you have it made. So this is the next step here. getting as much of the bubbles out as possible. It is beautiful. The color is beautiful, and you can see, oh man, it's going to be delicious. Now, we're going to take our vinegar and we're going to clean the rims just to make sure that we don't have anything there that will prevent us from getting a good seal, because I want all of them to seal. So we're going to do that, and then we're going to take our little magnet guy here. There's a magnet on the tip of there. Makes it real easy to get your lids out. I got 2 lids here. The other day I canned something with 2 lids on it. So I wound up having to eat that one right away. I forget what it was, but it had 2 lids on it. I was like, this one didn't, the top lid was not, it didn't pop, you know, it was still up. And so I didn't trust it. I opened it, and sure enough, I had 2 lids on there. So now we're going to put our bands on, and we're just going to put our bands on finger tight. We want to make it possible for air and all to circulate, and just go finger tight. Now I have on the stove over there the canner. This is a wide one. The canner is got nice warm water in it. So we're going to take this and we're going to put these into the canner. So I'll be right back. So just taking them and putting them in the canner, and then we're going to go and continue with our next step. So in our canner we have our 7 pints of whole kernel fresh sweet corn. The next step is, you know, to make sure that everything is working properly. This is going up and down, that you can see through your vent. I could feel it on my hands the other direction. So everything seems to be in very good working order. So now we're going to line up our V arrow there. The next step is now this vent here, the steam vent, must have a steady stream of steam for 10 minutes. And then once that happens, then I can come back and put on my weight. The weight is going to kind of lock everything in, and it's going to allow my pressure gauge the opportunity to start building up. Now for my altitude here, I need to have my pressure gauge operating at a 10. The weight, 10 pounds, 10 here. Okay, so we're going to start counting. It's coming out really nicely. Okay guys, so it has been 10 minutes. Now we're going to put our weight on. Once we put our weight on, the pressure gauge will start moving. Right now, as you can see, I'll bring you over. It is not moved. Once I put this weight on, then it's going to start moving. So, let's see. When you put it on, you can put on mittens and put it on, or you can just simply just put it on. I don't go on top of it and put it on. I go like this. Okay, now Did you notice that? Popped up as soon as I put the weight on. And then this little thing back here is moving up too. It's a black one, a little black knob, and that's coming up. So as soon as I put this weight on, this just came straight up. The gauge will start moving in a few minutes, and once it hits 10 for my altitude, then I'm going to maintain it at that. That's when I'll start counting the clock off. Not until I have my weight for my altitude. So I'll come back, guys, when we have that, and I'll show you from there. Our corn has been processing for 55 minutes. I just turned it off. It maintained the 10 weight, and now we're just going to have to wait until it cools down. As you can see, that nibbler is still up, and the black part in the back, the little black piece in the back, is up. So we're going to make sure that all three of these are in compliance before we remove our weight. Okay, so take a look at the pressure dial gauge. The pressure dial gauge is at 0. Okay, now I have my notes so that I can properly identify these. The air vent cover lock is here, and it is still in an up position. So I am not, even though this is at a 0, I am not going to remove my weight, my 10-pound weight, until this is down. So we're just going to wait a little bit longer, and then we'll remove this, and we'll be ready. Okay, so now the air vent cover lock is down. Of course, as I showed you earlier, the gauge is at 0. We will now take off our weight, and I'm going to let it sit for about 10 minutes. But we're going to open it up, and we're going to open it facing that direction, because we do not want the steam to, blast in our face or fall down on our feet, because of the water coming from here. It could fall down on your feet. So we're going to lift it up and away from us. See the steam? Can you see the steam coming off of there? Oh, it's quite a bit of steam coming off. Okay, the canner has cooled down, and it's very safe now to take out the corn. As you can see, it is still cooking inside. Okay, can you see that? Still cooking inside. So we're just going to line it up. It looks beautiful though. Looks really gorgeous. Remember, don't lift your jar by the lid, because remember you just barely put those lids on. And what if it falls off? But look at that beautiful corn. Isn't that gorgeous? I am excited about that. It looks really nice. So we're going to leave these sit here overnight, and then tomorrow I will take the lids, the bands off, and wash them down, and it looks fabulous. Thank you so much for joining me as we made our delicious corn. Now, this is going to be fried whole kernel corn down the line, and my family loves fried fresh whole kernel corn. I hope that you will take a look at the corn cob jelly that I did from this. This was my first time canning corn, and it was easy. The hard part was cutting it off the cob, of course, but it was easy peasy. Easy peasy, guys. And I know that I'm going to really enjoy this corn on the cob. So guys, here we have our delicious whole kernel corn on the cob, canned. Isn't that delicious looking? Yes. Thank you guys for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope you make some delicious corn on the cob, whole kernel corn, ready for the winter months.